to society. This administration turned it out to be the PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixari. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, daddy get lawyer. He really a proper plain labor ton politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal is order. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be the PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixari. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, daddy get lawyer. He really a proper plain labor ton politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. On SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up with smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal is order. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? or some kind of criminal enterprise. What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and man sorry. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, pay unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, delicate lawyer, he really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace to society. Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal is order. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and man sorry. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, pay unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, delicate lawyer, he really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace.
Good evening to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. I am your host, AZARD GUMBS, Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, Attorney at Law. In studio with me are the Flanders brothers, Troy Flanders and Kyle Flanders. However, we do apologize for the late start. There is some technical difficulty as it relates to the camera, but the technical team will sort out the camera, and so you will hear the Flanders brothers speak, but you might not be able to see them right this very moment. However, we have to make sure that the show goes on because this is a program heavily listened by the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we have issues this week that we must address. This evening, we will be addressing two important issues that continue to impact the trust, the progress, and the integrity of governance here in St. Kitts and Nevis. First, we will speak and look at and take a serious look at the issue of round pegs in square holes. Individuals being placed in positions they are neither trained for nor qualified to hold. As second, we will look and address the growing concerns and allegations of defamation being made by members of the Labour Party. Let us begin with the first. The phrase round pegs in square holes might sound like a simple figure of speech, but it speaks to a much deeper problem, a problem that affects our government, our institutions, and most importantly, our people. We are seeing a disturbing trend where appointments are made not on competence, and not based on qualifications, but based on the need of, and those not based on the need of the position, but instead based on political loyalty, personal connections, and favoritism. I will say that again. We are seeing a disturbing trend where appointments are made not based on competence, not based on qualifications, not based on the needs of the position, but instead based on political loyalty, personal connections, and favoritism. This cannot continue. When the wrong people are placed in the wrong positions, it creates confusion, slows down progress, and weakens our national institutions. It is unfair to those who have worked hard and earned their place, and it sends a message that mediocrity and connections matter more than excellence and merit. This is not the future we want for our country. We will then move on to the second issue. There are increasing allegations of defamation being made by members of the Labour Party. These claims are serious and they raise a number of questions. Are these allegations an attempt to silence criticism? Are they meant to shield certain individuals from accountability? Are they simply being used to muddy the waters and distract from the real issues facing our nation? Let us be clear. In any democracy, criticism is not a crime. Questions are not insults. And the public has every right to demand transparency from those who claim to serve them. Defamation should not be used as a political weapon. The truth must never be feared by those who lead. So tonight we will speak plainly. We will call on our leaders to do better. We will call on them to appoint the right people to the right positions, people who are capable, experienced, and willing to serve. And we will call on them to stop hiding behind political and legal threats and instead address the issues of concerns of the people. Because at the end of the day, this is not about party. It is not about power. It's about progress. It's about justice. And it's about the people and the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. Welcome, gentlemen. Of course, I have already laid the foundation as it relates to the topics that we're going to speak about. First being the round pegs in square holes, and second being the claims of defamation by members of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And so, as we speak about and address the claims as it relates to round pegs in square holes, we have seen over this past week, and since the Labour Party has been in power, we have seen appointments of individuals who simply do not fit the position in which they hold. Just recently, we have seen by social media the news of a CARICOM youth ambassador having a public spectacle at government headquarters. We have seen ambassadors being recalled. We remember early in this administration's term, the UN ambassador being recalled. We also recall the ambassador Leonata. Sometime early in the term of the Labour administration, a video was circulated whereby the ambassador was behaving in a manner not suitable to his office. We also note that the National Security Advisor, during one of its national consultations, press conferences, said to persons, if they know they have committed a crime, they should leave the jurisdiction. In fact, those persons who have committed offenses, he gave them advice to leave the jurisdiction. And so that advice was ill-said by a special advisor under the Prime Minister's office.
Good evening, good evening, everybody out there. Happy to be here today. AZARD, strong opening. Just let Troy say good evenings and then we'll come back.
Yes, Troy.
Yeah. Good night to all, AZARD. Once again, thank you for the invitation.
No problem at all.
I just hope that I could give some input tonight. I'm not 100%. I'm not myself tonight, so just bear with me.
Yes.
So two things came to mind when you opened that. I go to church regularly, and one day in church, the pastor told us, do you know what wisdom is? Wisdom is, you don't have to go through something to learn from it. Wisdom is seeing what happened to someone, and you learn from that. And then you had, I think, Maya Angelou who said that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. I think it was her who said it. So the appointment of certain persons to various posts, it's not like the person's just born today. You know them. You know who they are. They have a track record. So even with the ambassador, you have seen certain things that person have put on social media. So are you telling me that nowadays you don't search social media for a job no more? When people looking for jobs, they normally search social media to see what kind of conduct they have. So are you telling me that you saw all of that and you still decided, yeah, man, that's an ambassador?
And we would have seen the behavior of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador displayed even when he was not in such a position in times of past. And so the Labour Party has it's almost an agenda to award party loyalists at all costs, regardless of how they behave, regardless how they perform. And so they continue to embarrass not only the Labour administration, but of course the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is a Labour administration that has been elected by the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to serve all of us. So imagine we witness the interaction of these individuals here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We can only imagine when they represent our country abroad.
And that's the sad thing, because an ambassador means you're representing the country, the people. I can just say, that kind of behavior, that's not a representation of me, myself. I don't behave like that. So you shouldn't be go out there representing St. Kitts with that kind of behavior. Because I'm telling you, I've seen some of this person's posts, and yeah, it's frightening that you could see these things and select this person to represent our country on a grand scale.
Exactly. And then it is not even one ambassador. We have countless examples by this administration of persons not living up to the role that they have been given. I gave an opening. I spoke about the advisor to national security when the murder rate was high, escalating. And a press conference was held. And the national security advisor uttered the words of persons who no a crime should leave the jurisdiction. Leaving the jurisdiction would mean that it would be difficult for the necessary authorities to apprehend and bring individuals to justice.
And with all of those cases, you have never seen anybody from the Labour administration come forward and say, we acknowledge whatever happened, we apologize. There's never a word on any of these things. Never. Just showing you that this is the kind of behavior that is permitted, and this is what gets you to a certain point. You got to behave like this. And there are so many examples littered across multiple ministries. I have my own experiences.
But even before we go to the ministries, Kyle, let's look at the ambassador that the Prime Minister has appointed, Prime Minister's advisor, Mr. Edinburgh. He has a show that he hosts every Sunday. And an ambassador, an advisor Prime Minister, yes. And he one time said on his show that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis has a mindset of entitlement, when the people of St. Kitts and Nevis have simply asked the Labour Party to ensure that they commit, they hold on, they carry out their promises. And it's very disturbing. It's alarming and disturbing that advice to the Prime Minister would say these things to people to the people of St. and Nevis when they're simply asking the government to fulfill its mandate that it presents to the people and to present, to ensure that they honor their promises made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
My grandmother always said that greedy people are vexed twice. They vex when you ask back for what they borrow from you, and they vex and they vex again when you send them. Right? So look at it. You promise 1,005, pap, whatever it might be. Persons are expecting you to live up to your expectations, and you're shaming the people.
Correct.
You're shaming the people like you promised it, People looking to collect now, and you're shaming the people. You talk about CBI, this, that, and whatever. You couldn't live up to your promise. They're shaming people. They almost as though they are allergic to poor people. Right? Like, why are you begging me for? I beggy.
After they have increased their salaries. They have increased their salaries above and beyond the average citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, far above the average citizen. And it comes to no surprise, Kyle and Troy, that the Labour administration continue to put persons who are not suited for positions in those positions. Because the ministers themselves, many of them who hold ministries and ministries that they have. We look at the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister came an nation when he first took office. And he said to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that the economy was in a good state. No sooner than he said, we in the red. So either the first statement he made was a lie, maybe the second statement he made was a lie, or he was unknowing of anything otherwise. Perhaps he himself, he has no financial background. He has no background in finance. So perhaps he himself was not aware of how the country looked at the time. And again, we have so many ministers of government who are ill-suited to represent the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in the ministries that they currently serve.
Let's continue on the PM, because he made a very, very good point. I remember his last round table he had. He was begging and pleading for someone to educate the people on tariffs and inflation. So you got 1 million advisors, and not one of them is an economic advisor? Not one of them you could bring to your press conference to explain how the economy works? Not one? And I don't mind that you're not an expert in the subject matter, but oh my goodness, try to learn. Show that you have the propensity to learn about it. Right? They are coming out, and that's why the economy is not moving. Because there's nobody there who knows exactly how to stimulate the economy. You have an investment minister, former Prime Minister Douglas, went abroad, came back to deliver, and the way he spoke, the way he sounded, he lost. He has no idea what is happening when it comes to investment, financing, economics, nothing. And so my thing is that even if you don't know, be smart enough to surround yourself with people that could help, that could assist you. But the thing is, the way that persons are selected for positions, nobody don't want to work in these ministries. Because you're putting up certain persons on top when you deserve it, and victimizing others. So it's an impoor balance right there.
It is unfortunate, Kyle, because these ministers, I don't think they expected to win, in the sense that they didn't expect an election in 2022. A lot of them didn't expect that the team unity would have imploded like it did, and that it would have triggered an early election. And so the Labour Party grasped at the opportunity to run these candidates. And I don't think that many of those candidates, we can see now from their performance that they were not suitable. We look at Samuel Duggins as the Minister of Sports, And persons continue to come to me and complain about the incompetence. It is alarming the level of incompetence that is exhibited by that minister. And between the Minister of Sports and the Prime Minister, it's as though both of them are fighting for the title of most incompetent minister in the administration.
AZARD, you started with round pegs in square hole. Wait, what you just say? What you and Kyle saying here? I hear, listen, you all, it sounds as if it's the whole government is a round peg in square hole.
Yes.
It sounds like it starts with the whole government. Because if you look at it, from the Prime Minister to them who they select, advisors, so it's the whole government.
The whole government try. The whole government, as you say. And you look at it, we have nothing happening of significance in St. Kitts and Nevis. We are going through a very tough period. I cannot go to any small business without that individual owner from the business telling me that things are not going well. I stopped today at a small business and I simply asked the question, how are sales? And the person said to me, you better ask that question. Things are not going well. I said, were things better under the Team Unity administration, but in which Pam held majority? And they said yes. And that is the cry that most persons are making.
But as the only person who say things better right now is the ministers,
Because they have increased their salary?
Yeah, they might only think things that work out for. They might only person.
Remember the step party into us, so
As Mr. Flanders was talking about the minister responsible for investment.
What investment has he brought to St. Kitts and Nevis thus far?
But that was the same minister as Prime Minister promised IKEA at a plant here, That was the same man who was saying that they got investors lining up. You understand? And then when you look at him, look at his record. That's the same minister. I just have a square peg in one. The minister of Foreign Affairs is the same guy, isn't it?
Yes.
That was a guy who couldn't get a US visa. So how could you give somebody who can't get a US visa Minister of Foreign Affairs? That was the same guy who was kicked out of Parliament because he hold dual citizenship after he passed the law. Right? He was the same guy, who had to give up his seat in Parliament, found guilty, having a dual citizenship. That's the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The same guy,
Yes.
And you put him over investment. The same guy who cares to IMF. The same guy, So you just a square peg in one hole.
This is a misfit government, a misfit administration. They are not suitable to lead the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And their incompetence is clearly showing. It is showing from the top to the bottom. Let us look at the fact that these ministers, they came into office, many of them fresh. The only minister that had served in government before would have been Dr. Denzel Douglas, if I can recall. And so we have a number, the 5 others, up to the Prime Minister, fresh, never served in office a day in his life. And you would expect that they would have nurtured senior members of the civil service, persons who would have worked hard within the service and would have put them in positions of authority to assist them. And I'm not saying that you should not give young people opportunity. Of course, I am a young person myself. But we see that they cleared out many spaces to put permanent secretaries who themselves are green, fresh, and not necessarily holding the qualifications or the experience necessary. And so when we look at their ministries, fresh ministers, inexperienced ministers, with perhaps the head of the department, inexperienced and fresh as well, it comes to no surprise that nothing is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Permit me to add to that, right? Let me just break down my personal experience as it relates to agriculture, because you would see why nothing is happening at all in agriculture. Let's look at this picture here. The permanent secretary started working for the government in 2018. 2018. Never been a civil servant before. Started in 2018. Elections were called in 2022. He was placed to the top of the agriculture ministry as permanent secretary. Now, this young man had one of the worst track records as a junior person working. Always in confusion with the supervisors. His file was thick. So you tell me you saw that and felt as though, yeah, I'm a fresh minister, let me put a fresh person on top of that. And that is why nothing is happening. Look at, in agriculture, it was filled with unprofessionalism and incompetence. One example of unprofessionalism, I had a colleague working with me, and he's been working in government for almost 30 years, seasoned in finance, not in and out about finance and budgeting. But the permanent secretary kept decided to call him man patchy head. Patchy head. The man has alopecia. He has alopecia. I told the permanent secretary, you can't call somebody that I didn't know it's something that can't help. For a few minutes after that, patchy head. That's the permanent secretary. That's what we call unprofessionalism. I've heard him tell females in certain situations how much significant others they don't have, how much children they don't have. Incompetence now. He and the minister. So they wanted to transfer me with immediate effect. But you could tell that they have never read the Public Service Act. None of them. They don't know what's in there. You cannot just move an officer just so. You need 10 days grace period, and then they could proceed with the movement. So I had to go home for 10 days to sit down because they don't lock me off, clean me out, throw me away, right? So I had to go home for 10 days. So simple things as everybody know when you start working, you have 2 days. If you're sick, you have 2 days.
Yes.
The third day, the medical certificate, and then, proceed. So I had an instance where I was sick for some time. So I sent them a message on Monday, say I can't make it today, me feel so good. Tuesday, I sick, laid out, I didn't get to send a message. Wednesday, took in my medical certificate. When I came back from sick leave, I made a letter on my desk. Say, absent without permission. He said, what? What's that what they say? So I marched down to the office to see what's going on.
Yes.
Clearly, they don't even understand basic labor rules, labor laws. So, incompetence, unprofessionalism, rampant. And I'm feeling that agriculture is a microcosm for the larger government as a whole.
Yes. And based on your personal experience, there are so many other persons who have come to me and spoke about their experience as well. It is as though the civil service is in a mess at this point in time, and the civil service employs right now the majority of employees. So it's a whole grand mess. And we have the Jew-led administration not knowing what to do in perhaps one of the most crucial times in recent history. I listened to a speech by Prime Minister Mayor Motley, and the way in which she spoke about the times ahead and the times now. I said, this Labour administration will not cut it. We're in some times where we are seeing the US imposing tariffs on countries across the world. And we are seeing time where there's a rising cost of living. And it's simply sad because the leaders that we have now in office, they're not capable. I do not have the confidence in them to do anything of significant. In fact, and I keep saying this, when they won the election in 2022, I said, they're going to do such a good job because it's young persons who have not, you know, you hear about politicians and people being tainted and stuff like that. And I said, you know, they're going to really do, they're going to really do well in terms of making sure that they live up to the expectations of the people. But in a few short months, that expectation, Lord, dropped.
They have been found wanting.
We have a caller. We lost that caller. We have a caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Hi, good evening. Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you and your guests. I just calling and listening to you and what you're saying, and it sounds very interesting. But I would like to let you and the entire program know there's hope coming. Just let the people vote for the People's Action Movement. And I know that the People's Action Movement will represent this country in a way that they did back in the 1980s to the 90s. And we're going to even do it better than before, because what happened? We will have the experience and we will have seen what the mistakes are. So, and I know our political leader, when she becomes Prime Minister, she will give a solid speech on behalf of St. Kitts and to a great extent, even to the OECS, because we saw linked in so many things, especially one council and so forth. And you and I and the whole team, we know what we are capable of doing. And we know we can take this country out of this situation where it is and to make it better. So I just want to thank you for shedding light on some of the issues. And I also want to let the person know, rally behind the People's Action Movement and give the People's Action Movement this opportunity to set the wrongs right and to make sure we have a prosperous nation for every single person living in St. Kitts and Nevis. So God bless you. God bless your program. God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, God bless the People's Action Movement and constituency number 7. God bless you all. You have a blessed program. And I hope people will call in and listen carefully to what you're saying as well. Have a blessed night, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I recognize the voice. That is Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, Lincoln David Pell.
Azad, you say something and it touched me a bit, because
Yes.
when you say that you expect a lot from them because they were young, right?
Well, they seem to have had a desire to do better. They fool a lot of people in a try. They fool people in St. Kitts and
That
Nevis.
was an indictment on young people.
They fool so many people.
Look. Not all young people are created equally. That's what I'm saying. We need some we need reform at the civil service, right? We need some kind of change up and shake up how people get jobs. There's no clear path as to how we get certain jobs, right? So we need something like a confirmation system out there, so that you could come before me and say, here I am, this is my case.
Especially in key positions. We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Caller?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for allowing me. Brother Azard, my name, you know my voice by now.
Yes, I know.
And good night to your other two colleagues.
Yes.
Mr. Azard, the thing about our politics and our current leaders moving back, I'm not washing my mouth on the newbies. So you are immune, and to whom it may concern.
Yes.
But let me say this. Far too long, and what really fascinates me and interests me, caught my interest, is the ongoing scandal of the CBI. And we cannot move on unless we hear from the result from the CBI scandal. I don't know if you agree with me, because the CBI scandal is true and factual. I soon personally get copies from the source. And you know who the source is, but the source is connected to the United States Department. There is an ongoing investigation, so nothing is over, nothing is done, nothing is put aside.
It might seem to be, but hear it from my mouth. I am in with the source. Believe it or not. Okay? But I have good news for you.
Go ahead, caller.
I have a message to all the names that listed. But the main names that is known now, I am asking them, please to come forward and save the embarrassment. They are not worthy of continuing to be any kind of leaders. They have failed, they have corrupt, and they continue as their heart is pure. And the followers of these people, they are fooled, and they need to, how shall I say?
Yeah.
Reborn or rebirth or rewash. Not to throw away, because they are all humans. They are humans. And I would like to look out for my brother when they are in trouble and to save them from continue with that ideology. I've heard the story of Jim Jones.
Soon?
Yes. Anyway, like I said, the documents soon to be released, and I'm asking for all these political leaders to step aside and save themselves the embarrassment and to surrender all these monies that should have helped the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and pull them out of some sort of poverty and repair the infrastructure where the chips may fall.
Okay, Carlos.
But
Thank you.
They're still holding on. They're still holding on to that handle.
Yes, Carlos.
And they got to stop this.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, so as that call has indicated, and he's saying that persons, the persons follow the Labour Party, and of course they need to, reconsider the choice that they made, because the Labour Party is not performing well. The Labour Party is in fact underperforming by all standards.
So as you look at them guys, right? And they probably think that is a pageant then.
We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yes.
Let me just make let me talk general tonight, man.
We're talking about Burl, before you go on, we have two topics here this evening that we want to address. The first being round pegs in square holes. The second we have not addressed as yet, but we're going to go on to the claims of defamation.
Okay. I'll wait until you address that second topic, and then I'll come back in.
No problem, yes. Thank you so
thanks.
much.
Yeah,
We
thanks
have another caller. Caller, you're live and Unfiltered. Caller?
Hey, Azna,
Yes. How are you?
you accepting calls?
Yes, I am. We are focused on two topics for the evening. The misfit government. And so the misfit...
The what?
The misfit government.
The mystic government?
Misfit. They're not suitable to serve.
Yeah.
And we are talking about from the top to the bottom, not suitable to have the positions that they are now holding. The appointments have been disastrous, for lack of a better word, in terms of the persons they have appointed. Neither have the qualification, and some of them don't even have the necessary behavior or characteristics needed for the post.
Azna,
I'm listening.
what to you? Right now we want to know what went on over in the government headquarters. Because no one person could start nothing. And if the lady spit on the gentleman, she should be home too. Not because she's the ally of the Prime Minister. And for if he feels some of them people going to help he lies. He lies. If he feels that he's a Safi, he's a public figure, he be. Anybody got the right to say anything about
Thank you, Jamdong. Thank you. So I guess we could move on to the second limb.
Just before we move
Yes.
on, I just want to share. To me, it was funny, right?
Yes.
So when I was assistant secretary,
Mhm.
right, the government decided to find a committee and bring all persons in mid to upper management in a room. So a lot of assistant secretaries were in the room. You know what the goal was? To find out what is wrong with the civil service, why everything is not going where it's supposed to go. And most people in there were like, what do you mean, y'all don't know what is wrong? Y'all put people in positions that they're not supposed to be in. Persons in there for 15, 20 years, and then somebody just come up and they have to show them how to do their work. How do you expect that to play out in the civil service?
And the thing about it, when you look at the People's Action Movement, I could recall, and let me use example, Dr. Richards, when he served as Minister of Youth. For some time, Jeffrey Hanley had been the youth officer. And when Dr. Richards came into office, he did not immediately remove Dr. Hanley. Dr. Hanley served as the youth officer. I think there's a director of youth. Yes, he served as the director of youth. And so it shows the difference between a People's Action-led administration and a Labour-led administration. And there's so many different examples. You had persons in the Ministry of Tourism under Minister Lindsey Grant, persons who would have worked hard in tourism and as a result in the tourism authority be promoted regardless of political affiliation. Merit based. We have another caller. Caller?
Yes, sir. This is Jam down again, you know.
Yes.
The Muslim Prime Minister must understand that once done they performing like no unity ministers in the past, but I can't pass the test. I could never pass the test. Once none of you could step up to patches labor. A man who do things and everybody see he do things. I can't step up. But we want him to know, you know, the Dr. Joe, you know, that what he's doing to the young lady can't help him. Can't help him. Because the $500 will haunt you till you're gone. It's going to haunt you till you're gone. You should be ashamed of yourself. Have a good night again, Azar. When the
Thank you, Jamdong. Yes. And so, Kyle, as you indicated that, it brings back to my memory so many different instances whereby persons were saying, even persons within the PAM party, the People's Action Movement, they were saying, well, you have so many persons who support the Labour Party still in positions, and it was the goal of the People's Action Movement not to disrupt persons based on political affiliation. You know, when we're there to serve not just the People's Action Movement members, but all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Fast forward to 2022. As soon as the Labour administration gets into office, they clean house.
Because
They didn't even ask no question. There are persons in there who will have had institutional knowledge that could have assisted the transition.
they fail to understand that government continues, is a continuous thing. Administration change, but not the government.
I saw Samuel and Miguel wipe out an entire unit. PPU unit. They are the ones who in charge of the policies and the planning and all those stats for agriculture. Wipe it up because they were supporters of the PLP party. Just send them, scatter them into the wind. And what happened after that? Nothing happening. No policy is being done. Nothing is being done. This kind of vengeful politics need to end.
Exactly. We are all citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are one people. We may support different political parties, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the civil service is comprised of persons of all.
And not only that, it's a small community.
Exactly.
A small base you have to choose from.
It's one simple question. They doing the job? They doing the job? Yes.
Yes, you're still the minister.
Okay, what else? You doing the job? Yes. Okay, good. Let's go.
If it is that these persons are undermining you, frustrating the will of the government, then, you know, we would understand that actions need to be taken. But you come into office, and no sooner that you come into office, you get rid of all those persons who would have been assisting the government, those persons with institutional knowledge. You can't buy that. It is built over time.
But the sad part about it is that they don't say who they put it and them themselves don't say trying to understand the work.
That's the biggest problem. They don't want to.
Leave them alone. They go in making the same mistake over and over and over. As you say about Samuel, he do the same test every day and the same result he fail. They're not alone. They're not learning.
Man, I mean, you can just chalk them to wrong portfolio, wrong ministers. Right?
We have another phone call. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Caller, you have to turn on your phone. Listen to your phone, caller.
Yeah, it is down.
Mhm.
Yes. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
I don't have any other. I have a message to be delivered
Yes, go ahead.
to the Prime Minister and the Attorney General. And it is in respect to the documents about the case that they are facing.
Yes.
Why are they suppressing, depriving the public of the information as it was published and should be made public record? Is it because they don't want themselves to be damaged, which they created self-destruction, or they just think the information should be suppressed without anyone know what's going on, what went on, and what is progressing?
We'll get into the second half. We'll get into that, and then we'll have the discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. But at least it is out there, so I hope the ears are open.
Yes. So the second leg, the second limb, and it's defamation and public officials in the Caribbean. Because we have seen, since the Labour administration has taken office, a number of their ministers, their cabinet members, bringing actions in defamation. And so defamation law in the Caribbean exists at an intersection of two fundamental democratic principles: the protection of individual reputation and the preservation of freedom of expression, particularly on issues or matters of public concern. When public officials pursue defamation claims, these principles come into sharp focus. Unlike private individuals, public figures are expected to endure a higher level of scrutiny and criticism, especially given their roles in governance and public life. In the Caribbean, as in other common law jurisdictions, courts have generally recognized the robust debate, media commentary, and even pointed criticism are essential to democratic discourse. While public officials may seek legal redress if statements about them are false and damaging, they often bear a heavier burden of proof, typically needing to show that defamatory remarks were made with malicious intent or reckless disregard for truth. Cases across the region, including in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Barbados, reflect a cautious judicial approach to defamation claims by public officials. Courts have been careful to avoid enabling legal actions that might stifle free speech or discourage civic engagement, particularly in matters related to governance, corruption, or public accountability. At the same time, the region's legal systems do recognize that reputations can be unfairly damaged, and remedies are available where clear harm and malice can be demonstrated. This evolving body of case law continues to shape how Caribbean societies balance individual dignity with the public's right to scrutinize its leaders. And there are persons out there, and we've heard the discussion. This defamation is a topic that I have taught, I have learned, in fact, every attorney at the LLB program in your second year, you have the law of torts, and defamation is one of the topics under it. Very interestingly, there are a number of cases as it relates to defamation coming out of Antigua. And one has to understand, and I am not saying that one should not protect one's reputation, of course. But when we look at public officials and when we look at how the court looks at public officials, they are held at a higher threshold. Because on one hand, you have public officials carrying out a public duty, and you have persons out there who are going to scrutinize, persons who are going to debate, persons who are going to try to hold these public officials accountable. And so the court has made it clear, unless there is some malicious intent, or this reckless regard as to what the truth is, it is unlikely that a claim of defamation would succeed. Because there is a balancing effect between the need for commentary, especially in matters of public interest. So we have seen whereby cabinet minister, seen the attorney general take a former candidate, Ian Patches Liebod, to court. We've seen the outcome of that. Unsuccessful. We have seen where Congress Maynard has now taken Big Lice, Duncan Watley to court. That matter is ongoing. And now we have seen the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis taken to court based on his own utterance and based on the fact that this has been circulated through social media and at Frank's. And of course, I am not condoning persons maliciously destroying the reputation of anyone. But I asked a number of persons, what did Annette say? And many persons still do not know what Annette said.
So clearly no damage.
In fact, the Prime Minister, in highlighting Annette, has created more of a commotion over Annette than anyone else would have known.
Actually, we can Google it for real, you know.
I have asked several persons, Kyle, what have Annette said?
I want to know.
Troy, do you know what Annette said?
Not a thing.
If callers out there know what Annette said, maybe you can call in and let us know. You don't have to repeat it, because if it is something that is in fact defamatory, we won't want you to repeat the statement. But if you do know what Annette Frank said in relation to the matter regarding the Prime Minister, you could call in and say, yes, I heard what she said. Because I have asked several persons, what did Annette say? And they are without words.
But even without knowing what the lady said, right? This whole thing have shown the real character of the Prime Minister, the nature of the man. You out to destroy somebody, right? Because $500,000, you think that easy come by? Plus $50,000 for legal fees. That's petty, and you're out to do real damage to this person. Break down this person. You don't even know the economic situation. And for what?
But not only that, too, but when you listen, when he was speaking about it, and his tone of voice, and see how angry he gets, as you say, he just set out like you want to, anybody say anything, he want to crush you. Don't dare speak of the emperor who doesn't have hand in the clothes.
Vengeful spirit.
Don't dare do that.
And look at it, and he uses his public platform to make utterances Is this a private matter with the Prime Minister? Or is it a public matter? Because we see SKNI is carrying it. If it's a if it's a private matter in his personal capacity, then why is he making such a song and dance on the national television? Is it against the Prime Minister or is it within his personal capacity? And again,
Smoke screen, AZARD.
he
Smoke screen.
is highlighting Annette Frank. Many persons, when they heard about it, asked the question, what did Annette say? And persons are still asking the question, what did Annette say?
And like you've highlighted, it seems as though it's a trend. It's a trend with these people. You cannot criticize them. Even if it's, I'm not condoning defamation, no way, shape, or form, as I said. But this is an attempt to, because a person is going to muddy the water. So a person is going to be like, can I say this? Can I say that? Okay, let me just be quiet then. Because they might be fearful that the revenge will come down hard on them. And so you're trying to silence people. You're not doing your job. Your government failing, but you're trying to silence people who can critique anything that you're doing. And that is not right. That's not democracy. I mean, politicians of the past brought back. You know how much Calypso sing on them? You know how much things people say about them? But they just let that wipe out the back and the gun. Gone on to more business.
But you need to let Dr. Joe and the Thin Skin Labor Administration, right, know that when they try to silence people, there are people like myself out there. I gonna be your voice. I'm not afraid to speak. They don't scare me. AZARD, you're scared of them?
I ain't scared of the Labour Party, no.
Exactly. So if they want people to talk, we will talk.
In fact, we're here speaking.
Exactly.
And we are speaking on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we will continue to speak. We have a caller. Caller? So when it comes to this subject area, you would see that the law of defamation, it is balancing the protection of individual reputations with the principles of free speech and public accountability. The court would recognize that public officials are held at a higher threshold. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, AZARD. Yeah, thanks for letting me get back in, man. I believe yourself should put it out there to the public for persons who don't know you, your profession, and, you know, some background on yourself every time you come on. See how you were just talking about that legal aspect?
Yes.
I like when you get into that area, man, because guess what? That's what your profession is. You've got to let people know what your profession is.
Yes, bro.
You know, you're a lawyer, you're a practicing lawyer. You've got to big up that status and let people know that every night you come on.
Thank you for the advice.
Different than that, quickly, man. Our parents did not raise us like this, and I can't see how our families are so corrupted, our citizens are so corrupted, and our leaders are so corrupted. It's not changing. We got to get that system, that status quo got to change. The country is suffering as a result. There is some information that's out there. The guy who was talking earlier, you know, he referenced the MSR saga.
Mm-hmm.
There is some information that was transferred, I think, to this government, and our government needs to let the public know if this is true. The information that was transferred to them should be released to the public because the public need to get all the information they can get and digest that information so that they can make a conscious choice for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in the next election. The information that's being banded around is information that can influence the next election. And the electorates of St. Kitts and Nevis need to demand that information so that they don't make a wrong and poor choice. Lastly, before I get off, I know the persons on the ground, they be talking about, oh, they don't like when the people in the diaspora come home and vote in a government of the choice. One, that's bad for the people on the ground. But I'm going to say, straight to the directly to the electorate on the ground, you are 50% at least responsible for putting in these recyclables over all of these years. The amount of money these men mismanaged over the years, Sinkis and Nevis need to be in tip-top shape. All those politicians that has been part of that CDI program from the inception, they really need to get out of the way and go home. We need brand new representatives in this Federation of Sinkis and Nevis. And I'm encouraging all the independent-minded people to come forward. And that's my contribution, man. You guys have a good night. And those two guys that's on the panel with you, I hope they can really actually think about putting them names on the ballots too.
And try as in the past.
One real quick, hey, Azar, let me interject a quick thing real quick.
Yes.
You know I've been talking about that Brian clause, right?
Yes.
And it comes down to the question about loyalty and where your allegiance lies. But if I'm seeing these politicians on the ground with this misfits behavior that they have over all of these years, they don't have no more loyalty to the Federation of Sinkis and Nevis than anyone out in the diaspora. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for your call, Burl, and your comments. Yes, and so we see the Prime Minister almost in a state of boastfulness on the SKNIS, saying that, you know, with this lawsuit. And so one has to ask the question, is it a private matter? And if it's a private matter, why not address it privately?
What the Prime Minister is trying to do, right, is to distract people. So he threw out that so people could eat it up and run with it. That is a bad thing, you know. It's not something good he's doing, eh? And then take away the talking points from the mishandling of the economy and the job that they are doing. They don't want people to talk about the job that they are doing. So they throw out this thing, talk about that for 2 weeks, and then that's going to give them a break from not performing on behalf of the people. It's just a smoke screen.
Because if I could recall, when Congress Maynard brought a claim in defamation against Big Lice, Duncan Watley, I think Big Lice highlighted it. Did Congress Maynard highlight it as well? I can't recall that. But we have the Prime Minister who is saying, I have brought suit against people, and you're going to know who these people are soon. You understand? If it's a private matter, deal with it privately. He has brought so much attention to Annette Frank, more than anyone has given her in the recent time. It could have been just a private matter whereby he could have done his action in court and no one would have known any different.
But these attempts to silence people is very scary. Because I remember when the AG...
And again, Kyle, I'm not saying that there isn't need to protect one's reputation. I'm not saying that at all. But clearly, the vast majority of us don't know what Annette said. So he could have brought his matter privately instead of highlighting Annette in the way in which he did, because he is putting more attention on the situation than the average person knew. We have a caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered.
Azar.
Yes.
Azar. You could remember, I think it's 2005 election.
Go ahead.
2002.
We had the election in 2004.
Yeah.
2000 and 2010.
You was saying that Hamilton went up Monkey and was getting the voters them package. You remember that?
I recall something of that
A
effect.
big later, you know nobody said about them. Why you get wet? You must get it until when you leave out over there. Because everybody know you're dangerous. You're a dangerous sneaking cat. Have a good night.
So, in fact, and you know, just it's a because these things could have been done privately. No one will have known any different, and he highlights this more than anybody else.
What Dr. you are trying to think is to pretend that he's tough. bring this tough man thing, and you watch when he talk and you bounce under the car, tough man. But
That's a weak move.
no. But as the caller just went through, it's a little kitty. He be. And you want to tell me they got the big pit bull.
And of course, we're not saying that, one should not protect one's reputation, or individual should not protect his or her reputation. But we're saying, if it's a private matter, deal with it privately. You have created an attention on it. I have now been wondering what it is that Annette Frank said. Everyone is asking. The question around town for the last week, thanks to the Prime Minister, has been, what has Annette said? What did Annette say? And we're still wondering what Annette said.
But the thing is, like I said, it's been a trend. You remember when the AG threatened to take away people's phones? Attack the bloggers and those out there on social media, like, because you don't like what they're saying, your feelings get hurt, so what, you want to do what now? Like, this attempt to silence the people is not going to be tolerated at all, because we going to raise our voice and say what we have to say, right? So as long as we keep it within the realm of whatever, policies, whatever, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Right? And so, criticize the policies, criticize everything you want. But even so, as a man, right? If somebody says something about you, how do you feel it?
How enjoy silent Joe?
Well, I got a new job now.
well, they silenced me from the start. even before I started talking, I only heard. I went on vacation. I was at Scaspa. I went on vacation for 3 days. 3 days in December. Just on the brink of the new year. Happy-go-lucky. Thinking I was returning to a job. Only to be handed a letter by the CEO of Scaspa saying that my services are no longer necessary. And you have a month to leave. And most of the month was with vacation leave. So I mean, it's the nature of the game, I assume. But yeah, so but at the end of the day, I will continue to speak, because there are persons out there who are suffering under this Labour administration. You understand? And the only thing we can do is to come together as one people to ensure that we get rid of this Labour administration.
Make them a one-term administration.
A one-term administration.
Yeah.
One-term Labour.
They ain't do nothing to deserve another term, AZARD. You don't give people opportunity again when they fail and they fail and they fail and they fail. They keep failing. How you going to reward people for not performing?
You mean the salary increase?
No, the government.
They get a reward.
But then the people should not reward them and put them back.
Yeah, that's what we should do. Take it back.
We have another phone call. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Caller, you live?
Yes. Brother AZARD,
Yes.
just by hearing
Quickly.
you mentioning Casper, you used to work at Casper?
Yes, I was a legal counsel for Scaspa.
Okay. I need you to take my number. I need you to call me. I have an issue with Casper. Okay?
I'm no longer there. But
I know.
go ahead.
But I have a pending issue with Casper.
Okay, go ahead.
I had a loan.
We could talk about it off air. Give me your number.
Take my number. Yes, that's what I need. Take my number.
Say it.
347
347
area code 460-8192. Please call me. 8192.
8192. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
347-460-8192. I need to talk to you.
Okay, no problem.
Please
Yes.
do. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay then. So I am no stranger to how this Labour administration works. You understand? And then during the time that I left Scaspa, the management and staff awarded me a plaque for sterling service contribution. So there was definitely the management who had no issue with me, but of course, the minister would not allow it for me to stay. And so that is how the Labour Party operates. You understand? And so look at PS Weeks, Jasmine Weeks, Warner Weeks, home for a long period of time. Qualified individual. We have another caller. Caller, you're live. Caller, you're live.
Qualification means nothing to these people unless you're not flying the proper color flag. I mean, look at me. I got a master's in agriculture. And then I running from agriculture, so I mean, that's just how they try to do the thing.
And they wonder why they are failing. They wonder why they are failing in every ministry. Go ahead, caller. Caller, we're not hearing you.
Azar.
Yes.
Hello, Azar.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Azar. You gotta be lucky to get a plaque with Louis Hendrickson for 40 years. And remember, Azar.
Yes.
It ain't you alone the ton where, you know. The ton was 17 men already. 17 camp people already from up the port in 1996. You understand what I'm saying?
So they have a history of victimization.
There's a
And
history in these people. Now look how they treat Louis Hendrickson. A man who walked at the port with me from the inception of the port. We walk at the port. We were the first to walk up on the port. Me, Hammers, Grumhouse, and Blood, and a few men. Jab over Market Street. Properly, a few men. 17 men. Denzel Tornaway. 17 men. Kitty Shanino. And look what going on in Sinkits now. All kind of people are come. I walk in Sinkits. You see them people there playing it, people? Look what they do to Hendrickson. Louis Hendrickson is wrong. And shut up.
What Miss Frank said? That way look for still?
yeah. I hear looking to see what Mitch Frank said. Because the whole country is waiting and wondering. I'm sure people ask you for the week what Miss Frank said.
But you see, Azad, maybe he had just touched down and he feel like I got to do something. I say something, so he just jump up with that. Remember, they don't live here, you know. Remember, they live here, frequent flyers.
And the thing about it again, we want to make the point. We're not saying that persons are not protect their reputation. You understand? But we have a situation and a history where these members of cabinet, it's like your turn next for who to sue. So it goes wrong. It started with the AG, then it was Congress, now it's the Prime Minister. Who's next? Whose turn is it next?
Somebody threatened somebody during the week. So again. So.
And of course, we're not saying that one should not protect their reputation, but again, is this a private matter? If it is a private matter, why address it on national television in the SKNIS? Why not take it privately to the court? Address it privately in the court. So what the Prime Minister has basically done is highlight that issue. If someone is saying something about you, why highlight it in the public in the sense of bringing attention to it? Wouldn't it have been wiser that he deal with his private affairs in the court? Why bring it to the attention of the media?
This is got to be the weakest Prime Minister I've ever seen run St. Kitts. Because Prime Minister Simmons took a lot of criticism, a lot of things people say about Prime Minister Simmons. Douglas, man, a lot of people say a lot of things about Denzel Douglas, a lot. Tim, same thing, a lot of things were being said from some different sides. But here comes Joe. I guess he's Gen Z or something, guys. You know, Gen Z can't take nothing and squeeze. So I don't know.
Is it New Gen, SKN, Labour Party?
That was the branding for real.
Yes,
Jelly back.
The next generation Labour.
You know what happened to Joe when his son come up, eh?
You have to clear with something. I mean, the sun as in, you're not going to swear. Right? Sunshine.
Yeah, the sunshine. Please try.
I say, you know what happened to the Joe when his son come up.
Okay.
Okay, you can cookie points them here.
Big deal. So, you know, and of course, when you talk about the sun try, and as a literature student myself, I think of the People's Action Movement as a bright sun that would dry up this Jew and his administration that will bring peace and prosperity to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are seeing some real dark times under this Labour administration, and it would take a government like the People's Action Movement to really shake things. On that note, as we wind down, I want to say, yesterday our national hero, first Prime Minister, Sir Kennedy Simmons, celebrated his 89th birthday. And so we wish you well, Sir Kennedy. You are truly making those runs. And he has been our first Prime Minister, our first living national hero. He has been one of the founding fathers of the People's Action Movement, and it is an honor to have Sir Kennedy with us at this time. Not many political parties can boast of that. And so it is something that we are proud of, and we say, we wish you God's strength, God's guidance. And the thing about Sir Kennedy too is that you can sit down at his age and have a conversation. He remembers, he recalls. I hope, if I ever reach that age, that I too can recall like he has. And in the same time, we have to, give condolences to our former candidate in the People's Action Movement, of the People's Action Movement. Right down in my constituency, he ran in the 1995 and 2000 general election for the People's Action Movement, Oliver Spencer. I do give my condolences to his family, especially his children, Nikki, Allison, Marky, and Jack. And of course, the entire Old Road Virtuals, to some extent Middle Island, whole of constituency number 4. He was recognized sometime with the Star of Merit for his outstanding business skills in the area of fishing. And so we do sympathize with those persons, those loved ones who are now grieving. We all are grieving, because we are sad. And, there is life, and there's also, at that moment, death.
He was a Methodist preacher also.
He was a Methodist preacher, in the church that I once to preached. So, yes, there's some similarities when I think about him from my constituency.
So, which means he had touched people all around St. Kitts.
Yeah. And he will be missed. He will be missed. Just recently, he was given an award in the Methodist Church for 50 years of service as a local preacher. A man who has been of the community, and so we give him his kudos, we give him his respect. There is also Violet Curie, a strong supporter of the People's Action Movement, who passed away from constituency number 2. And of course, we continue to reach out to all families who are grieving at this time. It's not an easy time. We have all been through it. We have lost a loved one, and we know that grief runs its course. Our memories, what keeps us and keeps that individual alive. And so, of course, we extend condolences and sympathy.
Bittersweet moments right now in the family party.
Yeah, bittersweet. Yeah.
Birthdays and deaths.
That's the way of life, Yeah. And so this evening, I want to thank everyone who called in, those persons who shared their view. We'll continue to look at what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. We'll continue to give our views on what is happening. We're not going to be afraid. We're not afraid of the Labour administration. We're not afraid of those persons in power, because we are protected. We stand protected. And so we will speak, and we will continue to keep this administration's feet to the fire, because someone has to do it. And the People's Action Movement will continue to speak on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. As we have elected For the first time, a female leader in Natasha Shani Gray Brooks, our leader of our party. We are confident that under Mrs. Gray Brooks' leadership, that the People's Action Movement will grow from strength to strength. She has my support. She has the support of the others within the party, and we will continue to push forward. We know that convention for the People's Action Movement is on June 1st. And so June 1st is our convention, our annual convention. On May 18th, we have private party affairs. You know, that is where we would be electing officers to serve for another year, save and except the political leader. So all positions would be up, including deputy political leader, chairman, deputy chairman, assistant general secretary, treasurer, public relations officer. The only positions not up are the general secretary, which is appointed, and the political leader that has a term of 3 years. And so we encourage persons too to come to the People's Action Movement headquarters on May Day. As you celebrate, we're going to celebrate with you from 7 a.m. until at party headquarters, the People's Action Movement. Because the People's Action Movement is a party that continues to put people first. And we know it's a day for workers. The Labour Party has politicized it to such a great extent that you see now that it is not getting the support. The march doesn't get the support because it's a political rally, basically. And so, as the Labour administration continue to politicize workers there, we urge you to come to the People's Action Movement, where we would have a fun time. It's bouncing castle, it's family-oriented. Of course, there'll be in the discussions, you might have a little political talk, but you can come in any color you want. Even those persons in their red shirts, their Labour shirts, they can come, socialize. Those of the PLP, come, socialize. NRP, CCM, come, socialize at the People's Action Movement. Because when we are in government, we'll be a government that serves all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, not just some. We'll be different from the Labour Party, this government that has brought tyranny to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so if it's God's willing, we will join you again next week, Sunday, keeping this government's feet to the fire. Have a pleasant and safe evening. And may God continue to bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WinFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by Labour, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan. Ideas or structure is the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake. Under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, dedicate lawyer. He really a pump up playing Labour turn politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. BAD join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. And the labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy on all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on Win FM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on Win FM 98.9.